48 hours ago, 3:17 a.m., a sealed tribunal activated beyond the visible grid, not a metaphor, a cosmic audit, records opened, ledgers reviewed, and one verdict echoed across dimensions: return what was taken, add interest. When that sentence was spoken, access was revoked, ladders were pulled up, frequencies shifted. Someone was elevated, and certain forces lost their reach. Pattern break. This wasn't mercy, it was correction. If you're watching this, the signs already showed up in real life. You've been exhausted without being tired. Sleep didn't fix it. Money hiccups appeared at the exact wrong moment. Delays, reversals, sudden expenses, like pressure testing your resolve. And there's that quiet feeling, being watched, not feared, targeted, then suddenly ignored. Another pattern break. Silence is proof of distance. Here's the truth. The tribunal didn't convene against you. It convened because of you. You carried loss without bitterness. You chose restraint when retaliation was easy. You protected light while walking alone. That triggered elevation. And elevation means this: they can't reach you anymore. Not where you are now. Stay to the end. I'll decode what you did that locked this upgrade. Why certain doors are about to swing back with interest, and what happens next when access is permanently denied to those below your level. If this message is landing, comment 777. You didn't imagine this season. Your body felt it first. You wake up tired even after sleep. Not lazy, drained. As if rest doesn't reach where the exhaustion actually lives. Nights feel thin, like they never fully close. Mornings feel heavy, like you're already behind before the day starts. Coffee stopped working weeks ago. Even silence doesn't calm you the way it used to. And it's not just physical, it's emotional weight without a clean explanation. You're surrounded by people, yet you feel alone in rooms that once felt safe. Conversations stay surface level. You smile, you nod, you play your part, but something inside you stays withdrawn. When you try to explain what's wrong, the words collapse halfway out. You don't even know how to name it. They don't get it. Some stop asking, some minimize it, so you stop talking and start carrying it quietly. You tell yourself, I'll handle it. Again, you become the strong one again. The one who doesn't complain. The one who figures it out. You absorb disappointment without reacting. You forgive faster than you should. You keep moving even when your spirit feels slowed. You don't fall apart, you just go numb enough to function. Then the practical things start leaking. And that's when it stops feeling internal. Money doesn't disappear dramatically, it drips. Unexpected fees, delays that make no sense. A payment almost clears, then stalls. Something gets approved, then postponed. You fix one problem and another appears. Not big enough to break you, but frequent enough to keep you tense. Work gets complicated right when you need stability. Rules change mid-process. Promises become vague. Relationships feel strained without a clear trigger. People misread your tone. Your intentions get questioned. You set boundaries and suddenly you're distant. You stay kind and you're too soft. You speak honestly and you're too much. It's like you're being subtly positioned as the problem, even when you've done nothing reckless or cruel. Even your body starts signaling. Nothing extreme, just enough to keep you alert. Tension, headaches, tightness in your chest, random fatigue. A nervous system that won't fully relax. Enough to make you wonder if something is wrong, but never enough to diagnose. That's what makes it unsettling. You keep asking yourself the same question late at night. What am I doing wrong? And the hardest part is this: you didn't abandon your values. You didn't cut corners. You didn't become someone you don't respect. You tried to stay decent in a world that rewards shortcuts. So why does it feel like pressure from all sides? Pause. Because this matters. What you're experiencing isn't random fatigue or bad luck piling up. The timing is too precise, the pressure too coordinated. The themes repeat: delay, isolation, confusion, like a loop designed to wear you down. That's not chaos. That's targeting. You felt it, didn't you? That subtle sense of being watched, not in fear, but in evaluation. As if something was paying attention to what you choose when no one is applauding. When it would be easy to compromise, when silence would cost less than honesty, when you could take the shortcut and no one would blame you. Thoughts arrive that don't feel like your own. Why keep trying? Why not settle? Why not just do what everyone else does? Here's the uncomfortable truth. When pressure arrives from multiple directions at once, it's rarely because you're failing. It's often because you're approaching a threshold, and thresholds trigger resistance. Think back over the last few weeks. Doubt showed up first. Quiet. Reasonable. Maybe you're asking for too much. Maybe you should shrink. Maybe this is as good as it gets. Then fear, not panic, but exhaustion-based fear. The kind that makes you want to stop trying. Not because you can't, but because you're tired of pushing alone. Then delay. Doors half opened, then paused. Answers came late. Momentum slowed. Everything became almost. Then sabotage. Small misunderstandings. Words taken out of context. Your intentions questioned. Situations flipping suddenly. Loneliness followed. People grew distant without explanation. Support thinned out right when you needed it most. Then provocation. Someone pressed an old wound, tested your patience, tried to pull a reaction out of you. Then guilt. You owe them. Don't be selfish. Don't change. Stay where you are. And finally, temptation. Shortcuts dressed as relief. Easy exits that promise comfort but cost integrity. Stop. Those aren't random obstacles. They're a sequence. Used when brute force doesn't work. Because here's what was already known about you. Fear alone wouldn't break you. Pain wouldn't either. You've endured both before. What might work is erosion slowly wearing you down, making you doubt yourself, tempting you to choose the easier exit. But something happened, and you know exactly when. 2 to 6 weeks ago, you stood at a quiet crossroads. No audience, no drama, just a decision. You could have taken the shortcut. You could have said yes to something that felt wrong but would have solved the pressure. You could have reacted. You could have compromised and justified it. You didn't. No one celebrated that moment. No one even noticed. But it was logged. You chose restraint over revenge, patience over panic, truth over convenience. You chose the higher response when the lower one would have felt satisfying. And that choice didn't just affect your life, it triggered a review. This is where people misunderstand how elevation works. Elevation isn't granted because you suffered. Plenty suffer. Elevation happens when suffering doesn't corrupt you. When pressure reveals character, not compromise. That's why resistance intensified after you did the right thing. It was a final attempt to make you regret it. But behind the scenes, something shifted. Patterns were confirmed. Intent was weighed. And once that threshold was crossed, a law activated. Not emotional, procedural. Return what was taken. Add interest. This doesn't mean instant fireworks. It means reversal. It means systems that drained you are now flagged. Access is being rerouted. The first returns come quietly. The first return is clarity. Mental fog lifts. Decisions feel lighter. Internal conflict fades. You know what to say no to without guilt. That's the signal. The second is clean provision. Not stress money. Not compromise support. Timing improves. Leaks stop. Support arrives without strings attached. It starts subtle. The third is acceleration. Things that were crawling begin to move. Responses come faster. Opportunities resurface. Momentum returns with less effort. But don't relax yet. There is always a final pressure wave before a full return. Something familiar will try to pull you back into old reactions, old roles, old doubts. It will feel urgent. When it comes, don't negotiate. Stand still. Choose the higher response. Again, because the truth is this: you weren't elevated to escape the world. You were elevated so the world could no longer reach you the way it used to. What you stepped into wasn't just a hard season. It was a spiritual war disguised as ordinary life. Not loud, not cinematic, quiet, bureaucratic, procedural. The kind of war that doesn't break bones, it targets choices. And the reason it came for you is simple. You carry a frequency that can't be controlled once it matures. Light like yours doesn't announce itself. It shows up as consistency, as restraint, as empathy that survives disappointment, as integrity that stays intact, even when no one is watching. That kind of light disrupts systems built on fear, manipulation, and shortcuts. So when it reaches a certain threshold, it gets noticed. This is why the pressure didn't arrive all at once. It arrived layered, timed, coordinated. the same way any intelligent campaign works. Not to destroy you outright, but to make you abandon yourself. To make you choose anything other than who you actually are. Stop. Here's how those campaigns are structured. First comes doubt, not screaming but logical. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe you're naive. Then fear. Not sharp panic but slow exhaustion that dulls courage. Then delay. The silent killer of momentum. Then sabotage. Subtle misalignments that make you look like the problem. Add loneliness. Remove witnesses. Add provocation. Test your reactions. Layer in guilt, especially if you're kind. Finish with temptation, the exit ramp that costs your integrity. This wasn't random resistance. It was escalation, because brute force failed. Pain didn't harden you. Loss didn't turn you cruel. Isolation didn't turn you desperate enough. So erosion was the only remaining option. And here's what most people never realize. These tests aren't designed to see if you'll survive. You already proved that. They're designed to see what you'll become under pressure. Whether you'll mirror what hurt you, whether you'll justify crossing your own line, whether you'll choose power without conscience. Behind what you can see, something else was happening. Records were being updated, patterns compared, timing analyzed, not emotions evidence, not excuses intent. Every response you gave was weighed against the pressure applied, and the conclusion was forming long before you felt the shift. This is why it felt like the world got quieter. Why certain people stopped reacting to you the same way. Why some attacks suddenly lost energy. That wasn't coincidence, it was access being reduced. When authority changes, permissions change, and some forces only realize they've been locked out after the door stops responding. Stop. You weren't being punished. You were being evaluated for elevation. And elevation doesn't come with applause, it comes with separation, with distance, with fewer reactions from what used to provoke you, with silence, where noise used to live. The tribunal doesn't ask, did they suffer? It asks, did they stay aligned? Did you tell the truth when lying would have saved time? Did you hold your temper when retaliation would have felt justified? Did you refuse the shortcut even when the cost was immediate discomfort? Those moments mattered more than the outcome, and you passed more of them than you know. That's why the law activated. Not mercy, not favoritism, law. Return what was taken. Add interest. That decree doesn't rush. It reverses. It reroutes flow. It flags what drained you and reallocates it with precision. This is how the return sequence unfolds. First, clarity, your mind sharpens. Confusion thins. You stop replaying conversations. You sense the right move without forcing it. That's not luck, it's interference being removed. Second, clean provision support without strings. Leaks close. Timing improves. Resources align without compromising who you are. Third, acceleration, what stalled begins moving. Responses come faster. Opportunities resurface with less effort. But hear this carefully. Right before full return, there is always a final pressure wave. Not new tactics, old ones. Familiar faces, familiar doubts. A last attempt to pull you back into a role you've outgrown. It will feel urgent because urgency bypasses wisdom. Don't rush. This is where many people slip, not because they're weak, but because they think the battle is over. It isn't. It's concluding. And conclusions require composure. You're not meant to fight this moment. You're meant to outgrow it. Now, remember that moment, the one you dismissed as small. The night you were exhausted, the day you were provoked, the choice that felt insignificant because no one saw it. You stood at a crossroads without witnesses and chose alignment over relief. That moment wasn't ordinary. It was the peak of the war. And in the next part, you'll understand exactly why that single decision changed your access level and what's about to return first, second, and last once the final pressure breaks. It happened in a window you almost forgot. Not dramatic, not announced. Just quiet, heavy, and real, between 2:10 and 2:40 a.m. On a night you were running on fumes. The kind of night where your body is exhausted but your mind refuses to shut down. Your phone was in your hand, screen dimmed, thumb hovering. Your chest felt tight, like something was sitting on it. Your breathing was shallow. Your thoughts moved in circles, fast and sharp, like lawyers arguing in a courtroom with no judge to stop them. Part of you wanted relief so badly you could almost taste it. Not happiness, not victory, just relief. just an end to the pressure. Another part of you, quiet, stubborn, deeply rooted, refused to buy peace with a lie. You felt both parts at once, pulling in opposite directions, stretching you thin. You were staring at a shortcut that would have solved the pressure fast. One message. One yes you didn't mean. One petty move that would have felt fair after everything you'd carried. One small deception that no one would have caught. No one would have punished. No one would have questioned. You had a clean excuse too. You had pain. You had history. You had receipts. You had every reason to tell yourself, I deserve this. Stop. That's the exact moment the war tries to recruit you. Not when you're strong, not when you're confident, but when you're tired, justified, and alone. That's when the offer comes dressed as relief instead of corruption. Because the real test wasn't your situation. It was your identity under strain. The campaign didn't need to destroy your life. It didn't need chaos or catastrophe. It needed distortion. It needed you to become slightly different than who you actually are. So it ran the classic 8-step program: doubt, fear, delay, sabotage, loneliness, provocation, guilt, temptation, and it tightened the loop until your nervous system felt trapped. You weren't being attacked for what you did wrong. You were being pressured for what you refused to become. Doubt whispered first. Maybe you're naive. Maybe integrity is holding you back. Maybe you're too principled for this world. Fear followed not panic, but exhaustion-based fear. The kind that says, how much longer can you do this? Delay layered on top of that. Answers slowed. Relief stalled. Everything became almost. Then sabotage. Small misalignments. Conversations twisted. Intentions questioned. Loneliness sealed the environment. Because isolation weakens resolve. Provocation came next. A comment. A memory. A trigger. Something designed to pull a reaction out of you. Then guilt. You owe. You should compromise. You're being difficult. And finally, temptation. The exit ramp. The shortcut. The moment you were standing in at 217 a.m. This wasn't random resistance. It was escalation. Because brute force failed. Pain didn't harden you. Loss didn't turn you cruel. Isolation didn't make you desperate enough. So erosion was the only remaining option, slowly wearing you down until you volunteered to step off your own path. Then you hit the bending point. Not with fireworks, not with angels singing, with a quiet decision no one witnessed. You didn't send the message. You didn't take the shot. You didn't return evil for evil. You didn't shrink yourself to feel safe. You didn't trade alignment for comfort. You chose the higher response while your body begged for the easier one. Your hands were shaking. Your stomach was tight. Your mind screamed for relief. And still you held the line. That choice cost you comfort for a moment, but it preserved something far more valuable. Your soul's alignment. And the moment you chose alignment, the unseen reacted. Not emotionally, procedurally. The tribunal marked it as verified integrity under targeted pressure. That phrase matters. It means you weren't just good when it was easy. You were aligned when it was expensive. The accusers lost their leverage because you didn't give them a contradiction to hold. You didn't provide the one thing they needed. A reason to downgrade you. Micro reveal. The war couldn't win by force, so it needed your permission. And you didn't sign. That's when the verdict moved from pending to executed. 48 hours after that window, the cosmic audit closed the file and stamped it. Not delayed. Not debated. Closed. Evidence logged. Consistent restraint. Evidence logged. Truth under disadvantage. Evidence logged. Mercy without weakness. And the decree wasn't poetic. It was legal, financial, final. Return what was taken, add interest. When that line hit the ledger, access changed, permissions changed, reach collapsed. Systems that once touched you freely lost clearance. Influence didn't vanish, it was limited, contained, reassigned. This is why certain attacks feel like they bounce now. The same triggers don't hook you the same way. The same people can't pull the same reactions. The same manipulations suddenly look obvious, almost clumsy. You may still feel tired, but it's different, less panic, more clarity. You may still face problems, but the problems don't own your nervous system anymore. Stop. That numb peace you're feeling, that's not shutdown, that's elevation. Now watch the return sequence with precision. First return, clarity. 3 signs. 1. Your mind stops replaying old conversations. 2. Your no becomes clean, no guilt, no over-explaining. 3. Your intuition starts speaking louder than your anxiety. You don't guess as much. You know. Second return, clean provision, not chaotic money, not help with strings attached. 3 signs. 1. Leaks close quietly. 2. The right support arrives without manipulation. 3. Timing stops humiliating you. Things land when they're supposed to. Third return, acceleration. 3 signs. 1. Responses come faster. 2. Stalled doors reopen without begging. 3. Momentum builds with less effort. You push less. Results move more. But the system always runs one last script before releasing the full payout. A final pressure wave. It often hits within 14 days of the decree activating. It won't look new. It will look familiar. A message from the past. A sudden urge to explain yourself. A provocation designed to make you react at the old level. The wave's goal is simple. Pull you back down just long enough to question the upgrade. Do not rush into that wave. Do not argue with it. Do not chase closure. Do not explain your growth to people who benefited from your confusion. Hold your line like you did at the bending point. This is where elevated people separate from almost elevated people, not by fighting harder, but by refusing to perform, refusing to prove, refusing to bleed for the approval of what can't reach them anymore. You're not here to be understood by every room. You're here to remain aligned while the universe reorganizes around your new level. And here's your new designation, the one the tribunal recognizes even if no one ever says it out loud. You are not just strong. You are not just kind. You are an omega of integrity, built for pressure, verified under targeting, elevated beyond reach. Come on, amen. Chosen one. You didn't end up here by accident. You were pulled to the exact frequency you needed, at the exact time you were ready to hear it. Your exhaustion was real. Your confusion was real. Your isolation was real. And none of it meant you were weak. 3 things are now settled. The tribunal has already stamped your file. You already crossed the bending point without taking the shortcut, and the reversal is no longer negotiable. Stop. That matters because it means your life is not falling apart. It is being re-ranked, resorted, reassigned. The things that used to reach you relied on proximity, on your doubt, your guilt, your emotional openness to being provoked. But when you refused to betray yourself in that narrow window, when you chose truth over relief, access changed, permissions changed. The same pressure can still appear, but it cannot land the way it used to. You've been wondering why it felt so personal. Because it was targeted. Not at your success, but at your integrity. They didn't need you broke. They needed you bitter. They didn't need you defeated. They needed you distorted. That's why the sequence was so specific. Doubt to soften you, fear to tire you, delay to frustrate you, sabotage to isolate you, loneliness to quiet you, provocation to trigger you, guilt to leash you, temptation to recruit you. It wasn't random life turbulence. It was a test of whether your light would stay clean under pressure. And you stayed clean. That's why you're feeling something strange now. A quieter mind. A colder reaction to nonsense. A sudden ability to see manipulation from 10 steps away. You're not becoming numb. You're becoming elevated. You're not losing empathy. You're gaining discernment. That's the difference between trauma and upgrade. So lock this in. You are not just strong. You are not just kind. You are an omega of integrity. Now, within the next 14 days, 3 returns will show up first. And you'll recognize them if you're paying attention. Clarity will return first. You'll stop replaying old conversations, and your decisions will feel clean instead of heavy. Clean provision will return next. Leaks will close. Support will arrive without strings. And timing will stop, humiliating you. Acceleration will follow. Stalled doors will move. Replies will come faster. And momentum will build without you begging for it. One warning before it lands. A final pressure wave will try to pull you back into an old reaction with something familiar and urgent. Do not negotiate with it. If you want a simple instruction for what to do next, here it is. Hold your line. Keep your response high. Move like someone who no longer needs to prove anything. Protect your nervous system like it's sacred because it is. Speak less to what drains you. Give more attention to what strengthens you. And when the temptation appears to over-explain, to chase closure, To argue your worth into someone's understanding, choose silence with power. Because the moment you stop performing for approval, you stop being reachable. Say this out loud, slowly, like a vow your spirit can recognize. What was taken returns to me with interest, and my integrity stays intact. And if you're ready to accept this upgrade without shrinking back, comment 777.